This video all stems because I just happened to put on Facebook that I think Elvis's vocal ability peaked from 1960 to 1964, and people got mad. People got very upset. They seemed to think that Elvis's voice was great right until the end, which it was, but it hit its peak and just got better and better and better from 75 to 77. There were a couple people who said 68 to 73, which is a reasonable answer, but a whole lot of people were saying that Elvis's voice was strongest in the end. I disagree with that, and the example that I gave to many people in the comments was the song It Feels So Right from the album Elvis Is Back. In my opinion, it is the hardest song that Elvis ever recorded, and I know this because we were doing a request show a little while ago, and I got a request for It Feels So Right, and I had no idea, it never even occurred to me how incredibly difficult the song actually is to sing, not only because the ending note is the highest note Elvis ever hit in the recording studio, but also just because of the rasp and the shrillness of his voice on the recording is basically impossible to replicate. So let's talk about tone. In the song It Feels So Right, Elvis is incredibly raspy, almost like Jailhouse Rock. The only difference is he's hitting extremely high notes consistently throughout the song. If you listen to the alternate takes, not only is Elvis somewhat all over the place when it comes to hitting sharp notes, there are also times where he changes his phrasing, either hits a lower note, or he just all of a sudden drops the rasp because it's so incredibly hard to sing on the chorus. Here's a couple examples of him doing that.
Step in these arms where you belong. Oh, baby, it feels so right. How can it be wrong? Oh, baby, if it feels so right, I know that nothing can be wrong. That feels so right.
So a lot of people were naming songs in the comments that are harder than It Feels So Right, and they were naming American Trilogy, they were naming Hurt, they were naming It's Midnight, you name it. All those songs, yeah, they're very difficult to sing at certain parts. Before most of these big belting songs that we think about with Elvis, like American Trilogy and Hurt, the highest they're going is actually a B5. On It Feels So Right, Elvis actually goes to a C5, so one note higher, going from to this. On top of that, because he's hitting it with such incredible rasp, it makes it 10 times harder to sing.
How can it be wrong?
There are many singers who can hit a C5, but can they hit it like Elvis with that kind of rasp, that Jailhouse Rock tone that he's using on It Feels So Right? Chances are, no way. So that is the highest note that Elvis ever hit in the studio, to my knowledge. There are a couple of live songs that he hit the same note. For example, there's a live version of America the Beautiful where he hits a C5. Now, when I say that these are the highest notes Elvis hit, I mean the highest chest voice notes that Elvis hit. Once you get into, when you're a singer, there are two different kinds of voice. There's chest voice, and then there's head voice. So head voice would be, I don't really know how to explain it to somebody who, you have to feel it. So if you're singing, oh, you're singing in head voice would be, oh. So your range expands once you go into head voice, but we're talking chest voice here, because head voice is a completely different realm. For example, the end of Burnin' Love, you listen to the rehearsal version when Elvis is going, ha ha, he's hitting that, that's a D5. And so I guess that's the moment where Elvis's range transfers into falsetto. Go ahead and listen to It Feels So Right. Listen to just how incredibly difficult that rasp that Elvis is hitting on this song is, for one. And also, I don't know how he's not blowing his voice out, because if I were to try to sing this song and then try to sing something clean right afterwards, my voice would be shot for the rest of the year. So yeah, that's kind of my expansion on my Facebook post about Elvis's voice hitting its peak from 60 to 64. The reason I say that is mainly because of intonation and the stylism that Elvis was bringing to the table with these songs. Elvis was trying harder on throwaway songs and GI Blues, if you listen to the alternate takes, than he was on any of the Nashville Marathon session. So go listen to some of the songs from the early 60s and tell me on songs like No More that Elvis is not bringing his absolute A game to interpret this song and present it in the best way possible. And another thing that you'll notice if you listen to the alternate takes is that he's changing the way he intonates, changing the way that he phrases every single time until he gets it right, the way that he wants it, and then once he finds that, then he sticks to it. Well, that's it for me. Hope you found this video informative and also kind of opened your mind a little bit about how incredible Elvis's voice was, specifically in the early 60s on the song It Feels So Right.